Hi everybody, a very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV as we review Aberdeen's 2-0 defeat against Celtic at Parkhead yesterday. After that game, Celtic stretched their unbeaten record against the Dons to 18 games. Only 4 players who started Aberdeen's final league game last season retained their place in the starting 11 against Celtic. They were Ross McCrory, Dante Palvara, Johnny Hayes and Vicento Berserwin. Nearly 60,000 people watched the game at Celtic Park yesterday. From a table point of view, this is what it means. I'm only going to show you the bottom 6 because we are rooted to the bottom of the table. But we do play St Mirren next at Pittodrie, who also lost their opening game, at home to Motherwell. Hi everybody, a very warm welcome to the show. So this is basically where we look back on the weekend's game. Tonight is all about you, the fans. This is why I'm looking for your input throughout the season. It's very important to get your input. We are, at the end of the day, the life and the soul of the football club. So if you want to get involved, please feel free to drop us a note and I'll read out your messages as best as I can. We're going to be joined a little bit later by Richard Wilkinson, who is owner of Beat 106 Scotland and admin of Fans Facebook page. Now, I need to get this right. Aberdeen Football Club, the Beach End Boys, Goodwin Vibrations. Richard's going to be joining us very shortly to chew the fat about the game, and we'll be getting your thoughts, of course. Just very quickly, before we look at what the manager had to say, just let me give you some of my thoughts for what it's worth. Now, as most of you know, I only deal with positivity, always. Throughout any aspects of my life, it's always about positivity. Now, as much as the defeat was disappointing, I do think there were some positives to take from the game. And I noted 4 players. Anthony Stewart, our captain, thought he was fantastic, solid. Hayden Coulson, who came in at left back, made his debut. I thought he looked very accomplished after looking a little bit nervous, but I think that was to be expected. I think he'll serve as well. Callum Roberts, our new signing from Notts County, who came on for the best part of the second half, I think he looked very lively when he came on. And Hilbert Ramadani, now I don't know what you think, but I thought he looked like he was suffering from stage fright in the opening sort of 15-20 minutes. But once he settled, I actually thought he looked very composed. So I'm going to take the positives from the game. As far as I'm concerned, it's out the way, it's done. Our season begins at home on Saturday against St Mirren. Right, let's have a quick look to see what the manager had to say after the game. We spoke about how important it was to keep it quiet for the first 15 to 20 minutes. We couldn't have started any worse, conceding a silly corner, and then we didn't defend it properly. We didn't impose ourselves enough on Celtic. We turned over possession too cheaply at times, but we did a lot well. We are better than what we've shown today. We're still coming together as a group. Here are the stats from the game. Aberdeen with 31% possession of the ball, 5 shots in total, but only 3 of them on target. Of course, we all know what happened with Johnny. He scores that, different kettle of fish, stating the obvious. Kelly Roos had to make 7 saves throughout. Hugely impressed with him since he's come in to the team. And we managed to win 3 corners in the game with 70.5% passing rate in the game as well. We're going to hear from Richard in just a moment. But one of the other positives I thought, which was a really interesting aspect from the game. Now, we know that Dante Palvara made a terrible error for the first goal and potentially could have closed down Jota for the second. But this is my take on it. He's a young lad, still learning his trade, has come from a different environment when it comes to growing up playing football. I think in any aspect of life, no matter what you do, you should always learn from your mistakes. Always. If you make a mistake, you learn from it and hopefully it will put you in good stead going forward. I think that happened yesterday during the game. He made a terrible error. Then all you're looking for him to do is to improve on that mistake. There was an example of that at the beginning of the second half where almost an identical ball came into the box. This time, he didn't allow Stephen Welsh to out-muscle him, out-maneuver him and give him enough room. He won the header solidly and cleared it, which to me made him believe that he had actually learnt from that mistake and made up from that mistake. Now, surely, as young professionals, that's all we're looking for them to do. I really hope you agree. Let me know what you think. Okay, let's get Richard on, owner of Beat 106 in Scotland and a fans admin on Facebook, Aberdeen Football Club, the Beach End Boys, good win, vibrations. We spoke about a host of stuff, but to begin with, we looked back on yesterday's game. Hi mate, it's really good to see you. Thank you for jumping on. Okay, give us your general thoughts about yesterday's game.
So, I mean, I went on the night before on the Facebook page and kind of sort of said, listen, everything in perspective, you know, all I want to really see is a decent performance. It's a makeshift team. It's a makeshift defense. We don't have scales there. So, to me, you know, Celtic's bench is probably worth more than our entire squad. And I didn't have any personal expectations that we were going to get a result if we managed to scrape a draw. I always say, if you keep a clean sheet and you can score a goal, the 3 points are yours. And we didn't keep a clean sheet and we didn't score a goal. But I think we've seen enough there to go, actually, there was enough positive aspects of that game yesterday to go, you know what, with the rest of the games in August, the games that we absolutely should be and must be winning, we'll hopefully see some positive signs there. I thought, you know, Celtic played really well. I thought, you know, unfortunately, the first goal was disappointing, and you know, you can say what you want about it. Disappointing that that we lost the ball, and that led to an amazing strike by Jota. But you know, I think it could have been a lot worse. I thought there was enough positives in there. Kelly Roos looks amazing in goals. Captain Stewart looks like a real rock in defence. And there was enough creativity. You know, there's still opportunities to improve, but I think there was enough creativity in there. Johnny Hayes will be kicking himself that he didn't get the goal, and we had a couple of other chances as well. So I'm not panicking anywhere near remotely. I didn't have any great expectations for that game. It's the other 37 games that matter.
You know, it's been really interesting looking at some of the comments that have come in, particularly online, where even before the game, folk were suggesting, look, to be honest with you, just let it go. If it's a narrow defeat, fine. If we get something, fantastic. But a lot of people are really suggesting that our season starts on Saturday against St Mirren, which I have to be honest, now that this game is out the way, and I'm glad it's out the way, I think this is where we can really kick on against St Mirren.
Absolutely. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts. Like I said, Aberdeen fans were a broad church. I said to you, that they kind of fall into three categories in my experience of running on a Facebook page. It's not very nuanced. You're not having a discussion like one-to-one like we are now. You've got the chronic curmudgeons who are never happy. You've got the reasoned realists who are like us, can be objective somewhat. And you've got the sort of happy clappers, blind faithers, where, everything's fine, support the team, back the team, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And I think it's important to be objective. I get that people don't necessarily agree all the time, but I think, I would have said for years ago, even when we were in Europe, when we were getting European spots, the League Cup games were absolutely what we should have been doing before we were playing in Europe. And I think those games were just great to, lest we forget, we've got players who have been coming in the past 2 weeks who aren't fit. I think, Louis Lopez, Mr. Duke or Mr. Duck doesn't look fit, but he looks a proper talent, potential, and like I said, I'm going, you're playing a team that are the champions, that only conceded 22 goals last season, that, under other circumstances will batter a significant amount of the other teams in the Premier League by 4 or 5 goals, I suspect. I don't think there's anything to worry about. I mean, I think, fans sort of saying, oh, well, we sat back and blah, 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 et cetera, you can't. It's about pleasing as many people as much of the time as possible. You can't please everybody. I think we did all right, and as you say, I think as far as the league season is very much the next sort of few games in August. Was it St Mirren, Motherwell, Livingston and St Johnstone, last season we were dropping points here, there, and everywhere. This time around, we've got to be looking at 3 points for each game and going out for a win. And I think Goodwin's mentality and the players that he's brought in will absolutely, certainly give us a better chance of delivering that.
Just to finish off, mate, just give me roughly what you think your expectations are for this coming season.
I still believe we can be third. I think that, I don't think it's an unreasonable suggestion. I caught a bit of Hearts at the weekend, and they were obviously third place last season. Didn't look that special. I don't think they bought, as much as once upon a time I would have loved to have Shankland banging in the goals. I don't think now he's quite the prospect that he once was, and that feels like the only real sort of player that they've, so-called improved their squad with. So I think the thing is, last season there were a lot of teams dropping points here, there, and everywhere. I think if you recall, 4th to 10th was, the split was there was points in it. I think Hearts were almost allowed to kind of, run away with third place. So I give a credit to Goodwin for absolutely turning this around. Everybody said, "Oh, they'll need more than one window," blah blah blah, etc. Well, in terms of what he's managed to do in this one window and the players that he's managed to turf out and bring in, still with a couple of players potentially to come in.
Yeah.
It's just about letting them, gel, letting them play, giving them confidence. Ironically for the criticisms that I get on the Facebook page, getting behind the team, and let's see what they can do, because I genuinely believe that this is one of the most exciting squads for a very long time. And I don't think third is out of the question. As far as the cups, it really depends when you get Celtic and Rangers. It's, if given that performance yesterday, I think Celtic are going to be very hard to beat in all competitions. Rangers, I don't think were particularly impressive against Livingston, but they might, they're still going through changes and player, sort of coming in and going. So, but I would be happy with I think like most people, most reasoned realist Dons fans, a comfortable third with at least a few good showings in Glasgow or against Glasgow teams.
Okay, mate, brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on. I will let you crack on with your evening and keep up the great work on the Facebook page. Thank you, mate.
Thank you very much, mate.
Lovely
Cheers.
to see you. Take care.
Lovely to see you too.
Bye. Thank you, Richard, for coming on. If you do get a chance to check out his Facebook page, please do. There's always lots of really good chat on there. A couple of newspaper headlines that caught my attention. Jim Goodwin rues poor start as Aberdeen lose Premiership opener to Celtic. And this one's quite interesting in the Scotsman. Jim Goodwin not finished yet as he speaks on David Bates' situation after Celtic defeat. So Jim was talking about possibly 2 more players coming in. And when he was talking about David Bates, he actually said that David is still very much part of the group. But David knows that it's going to be really difficult with Anthony Stewart and Liam Scales in there. But Jim basically wasn't just casting him aside. He said he's still very much in the thinking and still very much part of the group. So I thought that was quite interesting as well. Okay, guys, thank you so much for getting on YouTube tonight. This is absolutely brilliant. So many of you on here. Ian Stevenson's just come on and said loads of positives, still a little bit dodgy. Yeah, I agree. Monifeith Arrow says, I'm totally with you regarding all the positives. Having said that, I'm a bit concerned at how far fit Lopez is looking. I have to say, when Duke came on yesterday, he doesn't look fit, does he? But I think that will come. And I think we've seen enough glimpses of him to see that there's a really good player in there. But I do agree with that. Fraser Gunn, hi Fraser, how are you doing? I like the cut of Goodwin's jib. So far, he's called games predominantly the way I would have called them. He looked quite dejected, which I like. He was not happy just to lose 2-0. Michael Scott, hi Michael, how you doing? Bad start, and let's not forget Celtic are a big team. Could have done better, could have done a lot worse. 1 game in, not a disaster. Eagle Owl says, I have to be honest here and say I was never overly worried about us conceding goals yesterday. For all Celtic's pressure and chances created, we didn't look like conceding again. Actually, I have to say that, despite all the pressure that Celtic had us on, and that for at times had us sort of penned in a little bit, I wasn't actually overly worried. I didn't think they were creating that many chances. I think we're looking really quite solid at the back. Right, guys, over the past few days, I've been asking for your videos so that you guys can get involved in Ali Beg ABTV and offer your own thoughts. This channel is predominantly about you, the fans. That's what I want it to be. So a host of you have got in touch and sent us your very own thoughts on our defeat against Celtic.
Well, yesterday's game, pretty poor. We gave it away pretty much at the start of the game by giving a guard of honour. We need to get rid of that rubbish. I thought we got bossed about too much in the middle of the park. I think we should have had Macquarie up in the centre of the park, and we should add someone like Jack Milne or even Batesy at the back. So I'm quite disappointed. Again, goals, lack of goals again. No opportunity from the middle of the park, creative at all. Really disappointed, but up and onwards. First game of the season. Let's go. Stand free.
Hi Ali, hope you're good, mate. Yeah, it was a tough start to the season at Celtic Park. I mean, if Johnny Hayes takes that chance, they're still in it. But there we go. And as for the gig, wow, just, nobody does it like they do in Aberdeen. The atmosphere was second to none. I don't think we've ever experienced a night like it, and we just want to thank everyone for coming. All the best to everyone.
A slightly disappointing start to the season with 0 points, but not necessarily unexpected given the shape of Celtic's current team and the fact that we're still gelling quite a lot of new players together. There's some promising moments, and hopefully now that we've got that out the way, this gives us a good opportunity to have a run of at least 5 games, but we're hopefully getting wins, clean sheets and goals.
Brilliant. Thank you, guys. That's exactly what we're looking for. So going forward, we're looking for your videos ahead of Premiership games and after Premiership games as well. So thank you very much to all of you who contributed tonight. Okay, just to finish off tonight's show, I don't know how many of you are aware, but 30 years ago this very day, Duncan Shearer made his debut for Aberdeen in our 3-0 win against Hibs at Pittodrie. He scored a brace. Now, I've got a very special Beggs Banter show coming out this week, which I'll get to in just a moment. If you haven't seen it yet, Duncan has already been the subject of a Beggs Banter interview, which has had nearly 4,000 views. I've been astonished by the amount of people that have watched it, so thank you. And if you've not seen the show before, this is a snippet, and this is where Duncan was actually talking about the importance of how a striker needs to fit in and get bedded in straight away. Duncan Shearer.
It was an instant start for me in terms of how league. But I think you would expect that, a team of Aberdeen's calibre, especially the players we had, that we were going to go to them games and dominate them, and there was going to be loads of chances about. So, but I think for me, I've always said that about strikers joining clubs. You need to hit the ground running. You need to convince a whole new set of fans that you can score goals. It's all right them looking at your record, but that was in front of other fans. You have to convince Aberdeen fans that you can score goals. Yeah. So luckily enough, I did that.
Yeah. So absolutely delighted to tell you that Aberdeen legend Jim Leighton is the subject of my brand new Beggs Banter, which is coming out this Wednesday evening. I spent a good half an hour with Jim talking about his career at Aberdeen, but more importantly, what I wanted to talk to Jim about was the incredible strength and courage that he showed as a professional to come back from so much adversity. We all know what happened. I really hope you can join me for that show, 7 o'clock UK time on my YouTube channel here. Guys, we're done. Thank you so much for getting involved. Thank you to everybody that has come on YouTube and commented as well. I really hope you've enjoyed the show. Okay, it wasn't the best start, but I think our season starts on Saturday. Guys, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye for now.